Hey everyone, this is your favorite host in the whole wide world, Josh, coming back at you with another review. Atomic Blonde was written by Kurt Johnstad and directed by David Leitch, or David Leitch. I don't know how you say his name, but this story comes from a graphic novel that came back out in 2012 titled The Coldest City, which was written by Anthony Johnston and illustrated by Sam Hart. David Leitch, or Leitch, or whatever the fuck his name is an American filmmaker, producer, director, stunt coordinator, and stuntman. He's done stunt work for dozens of notable films in the past, and he's even listed as an uncredited co-director for John Wick, which he made with fellow stunt coordinator Chad Stahelski. What is with these hard names to pronounce today? Fuck! Now, I'm not a huge fan of action films, but I did like John Wick 1 a lot, and I really liked the way that film approached the genre. It gave us a disposable, yet easy to follow story with a lot of great action sequences, and it was fun. So what else could you ask for? So I was pretty excited when I found out that Atomic Blonde would be helmed from someone who worked on John Wick, because I figured like, okay, we'll probably get something just like John Wick, only the lead will be a female and it will be in a different setting this time around. Plus the trailer, was pretty badass and pretty hot. The story of Atomic Blonde takes place right before the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989 in Germany, and it follows a spy for MI6 called Lorraine, played by Charlize Theron. After one of her known MI6 colleagues is assassinated, she's sent out to retrieve a list with all the information on all the MI6 operatives currently out in the field before it gets into the wrong hands. In the process, she's forced to work with an unstable MI6 operative called David Percival, played by James McAvoy, and the two form an unsteady alliance in pursuit of the list. Unfortunately, that's the most information that you'll probably be able to decipher from the story, because God, is it hard as shit to follow. This film really struggles to be engaging, guys, and I think a big part of that problem, or at least one glaring problem, is the film's structure and the way it's written. The events of this film is primarily explained through a debriefing scene in which MI6 questions our main character and how her mission went, so we see all the events of her mission play out as she's explaining it during the debriefing. But then for some time, the film also cuts to MI6 briefing her before her actual mission, so at one point the film cross-cuts between her initial briefing, her debriefing, and then the actual events during her mission. And they do this in no sort of coherent way, and it's confusing. Another problem with this film is that it tries to maintain this level of intrigue about the characters so that you can't find out who Satchel is. Satchel is this unnamed double agent that MI6 is after, and the only way to reveal the identity of Satchel is by retrieving the list, which will expose that person. And the story makes it really hard for you to figure out who Satchel is, but I'm sitting there in the theater seat thinking to myself like, who gives a fuck who Satchel is, because I don't give a fuck about all these other characters. They give you little to no backstory on every character in this film, including the protagonist, which gives me no reason to care or be emotionally invested in them. The only thing that I knew for certain about the main character in this film is that she's a spy, she's cold, she's sexy, and she likes taking ice baths. Good for her, but that's it. The villain in this film is so lame, because besides knowing that they want to get the list, I don't really know what else they want to do because you hardly ever see them. In fact, I'm not even sure that I really even know who the real villain in this film was. I was so fucking confused. You hardly see Charlize Theron and James McAvoy's characters together on screen in this film. And that's really disappointing because the only time that I feel like I was learning a little bit more about these characters was when those two would come together and talk and have these dialogue scenes which would show these like little nuggets of their personality. It's also disappointing because James McAvoy is a great actor in my opinion, and I don't think he gets enough opportunities to shine in this film. Same thing goes for Sofia Boutella, who plays the hot French spy Delphine. We see her a couple of times on screen, she seems like a cool and interesting character, she has some steamy moments with Charlize Theron, and that's it. A lot of this movie just involves the main character going from one place to the next, listening to tapes in their hotel room with nice neon lights, picking up documents, talking to characters and having all this information shoved down your throat, which never really amounts to anything coherent, and every now and then there's an action scene. The film tries to make itself more interesting than it actually is by playing these hit songs from the 1980s and 1990s over these incredibly mundane scenes. It's such a cheap technique. Like, Charlize Theron will be walking down the street and they'll be playing Blue Monday like we're supposed to get excited, like, no. Let's find out if this technique works, shall we? Now, I certainly can't knock this film for a lack of style, even if I think they overdo it at some points, but there are a lot of great scenes with great camera work and some great lighting in this film, along with some other good action sequences. There's a really great fight scene in this movie that I think would make the film probably worth the price of admission for some, where the main character is fighting these KGB henchmen in this apartment building down the steps, into one room, into the next room, into another room, then it goes outside, then it turns into a car chase, she's driving full speed, and then she's driving full speed in reverse at one point. There's a lot of merits that I can give this film in terms of production quality, but it doesn't really amount to much because this film doesn't give me anything to care about. And even if they had made the characters more fleshed out and more interesting, I'm not really sure it would have mattered, honestly, because this movie is still too difficult to follow. Guys, I'm not feeling this movie. I'm going to give Atomic Blonde a 2 out of 5. It is an atomic turd. Thanks for watching this review, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked what you saw, and I hope you enjoy Atomic Blonde more than I did if you end up seeing it. Hopefully it's just not atomic boredom for you like it was for me. Please keep an eye out for upcoming reviews. I definitely will be reviewing Wonder Woman in the near future before it leaves theaters, I swear to God. I will also be reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming in the future. But if you guys like what you see, remember to hit that like button down below or share this video, whichever you prefer. And if you dig the channel, subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, guys. This is your boy Jay, all day, every day. You know what it is. Signing off until next time.